Look into my eyes. Your soul is stained by the blood of the innocent. Feel their pain.
In the first episode, we established the main character Dan Ketch, a timid boy who leaned on his sister Barbara for strength. Barbara, who now rests in a coma in the hospital clinging to life after both of them stumbled upon an illegal deal gone wrong in the middle of the night in the cemetery. Barbara was seriously injured. The illegal deal being over some mysterious canisters, wanted by both the infamous Kingpin and the new mysterious Death Watch. A new crime boss that has red ninjas in his employment, and they are totally not members of the Hand. A local gang called the Cypress Pool Jokers have hidden the canisters. Amidst all this chaos, Dan found a mysterious motorcycle in the junkyard that has granted him the ability to summon and transform into a demon called the Ghost Rider. With the recap done, we arrive at an alley in New York City, members of the Cypress Pool Jokers running from criminals wanting the canisters. They question and threaten the kids to tell them the location, when suddenly, blinded by the light, Ghost Rider appears. They panic. Nail him, boys. They shoot down the Rider, confident that he is finished, and boasting. They are immediately met with the very alive Ghost Rider who isn't too happy. He beats down the criminals one by one until only one is conscious. He gets him by the ankles with his chains and drags him along on his motorcycle, taking him to the top of a very tall building for what will become one of his classic interrogation tactics. Something that surprised even me. I assumed by their outfits they worked for the Kingpin, but nope. These guys just wanted to get in good with the Kingpin by bringing him the canisters. So that means not only is Deathwatch and Kingpin after the MacGuffins, but even common criminals are after it just to get in good with the likes of Kingpin. These things really need to be off the streets as soon as possible, or New York will turn in a war zone. Like it probably was last Tuesday. I mean, this is the Marvel Universe. So it's a war zone like every third or fourth day. Seriously, who the hell would live here? I do love how the CPJs... Oh, by the way, I'm just going to start calling the Cypress Pool Jokers the CPJs. I hope that's okay. Anyways, I love how they come to admire and look up to old Flamehead. He keeps saving their asses. Once again, we return to the Cypress Hills Cemetery, his home away from home. He once again turns back into Daniel Ketch. Elsewhere, we enter the home of a detective, whose name really won't matter in a page or two, as you will see. He is watching TV when suddenly all the lights in the house and the TV go out. He immediately goes for his gun. He begins searching his home. He knows he isn't alone. His gun is taken from him. He retaliates with a punch, his hand in pain. Then he sees a figure looming over him. The haunting figure demands information, threatening the detective's wife and child. The detective breaks and tells him what he wants to hear. 15 minutes later, we find him dead, and the mysterious figure writing down info on the CPT gang. He is obviously tracking down the canisters. Even though the man got what he needed out of the detective, he still killed his wife and child, telling us that he is not one to trust, nor does he live by his word. Later that day, we come up to the bedroom of Dan, having a hard time sleeping ever since Ghost Rider entered his life. He senses someone in his room, worried who it could be. His lights turn on. It's his mommy! She's worried about him, how he's staying out late for obvious reasons. You know, her daughter being in the hospital and such. Dan reassures her that everything will work out. In the kitchen of the Ketches, we meet Stacy again. You know, we saw her for 5 seconds in the first issue. She just wanted to surprise him and gives him a little kissy kiss on his cheeky cheek. It's so cute! Apparently he hasn't been around much since what happened. Dan sees the Daily Bugle, a newspaper, on the desk, And it seems that J. Jonah Jameson doesn't just slander old Spidey,
Slander is spoken. In print, it's libel.
but now is messing with old Flamehead too. And Dan is pissed. He has a bit of a hissy fit, but immediately apologizes, realizing it's frickin' abrupt out of nowhere and probably freaked out Stacy. He tells her he feels he needs to stop all this violence. He has to. She asks him, how can you stop this? It's unavoidable. And he should just pray that Barb gets well and that her father will stop old Ghosty before he hurts someone else. Dan tells her she doesn't understand, almost hinting and saying he has to do something. I really like this scene. It showcases Dan's slow change into a more proactive hero, wanting to make a difference and wanting to stop all this violence. It also starts showing us a bit of how close Stacy and Dan are. I really like these two. So adorable. Okay, now on to some serious shit. We move to the offices of Deathwatch. The lights suddenly go out, and unlike the detective, Deathwatch does not panic. Instead, he simply calls out the name of the one responsible. He turns on these infrared lights, and they discuss business. A hint is given as to why blackout dampens lights around him, one reason being him having a skin condition. Now, on to business. Deathwatch asks if he's located the canisters, and Blackout informs him of the previous night. Instead of just listening, Deathwatch decides to peer into his mind as he did in the previous issue with one of his former goons. Unlike the goon, Blackout seems to be used to this, and Deathwatch seems to be getting off, witnessing Blackout do his thing and kill people. They are creepily made for each other. Is this love or business? Blackout continues on with the address of one of the CPJs. We cut to Dan visiting his sister in the hospital. He still needs his sister. Just being in her presence seems to help him put things into perspective. He goes on about how when he transforms, he enters a dark place and can't leave. How when they were little, he was afraid of the dark, and how that dark place is inside him now. He doesn't have his big sister to turn on the lights for him. This is all very poetic, considering the villain that was just introduced. A theme for this issue, and honestly something I never noticed until this read-through. It really makes this scene between him and his sister even better in my eyes, and something I really appreciate. We now change scenes to the house of one of the CPJs, Ralphie, the one who got a knife in the gut in the last issue. He seems to be enjoying his time playing Nintendo while recovering. Apparently it wasn't as bad as it looked, according to him. He seems happy to be out of school and his parents spoiling him. Hell, I would be happy relaxing at home playing video games all day. I miss those days. Suddenly, the power goes out. After seeing this phenomenon 2 times before in this issue, I think we can assume what's about to happen. He calls out to his parents. They don't answer. He's nervous. He tries to light a match to no avail. He's starting to freak. He hears a scream. He slowly creeps out into the hall. He comments that it's too dark. It isn't natural. But he isn't afraid of the dark. But maybe, just maybe he should be. Blackout appears behind the boy, scaring the shit out of him. Don't worry, Ralphie. Dick Tracy is on the way. Just kidding, that's one of the ads in the comic book. Blackout picks up Ralphie by the throat, demanding to know where the canisters are, specifically stating that if he tells him, he will get to join his parents immediately. Ralphie manages to break free and immediately goes to his parents' room. Blackout just tells him to go in and join them. We see the horror on his face as we see their fates, horribly mutilated by Blackout. Blackout lunges after him. He trips over his father's corpse. Straight out the window, he plunges towards his doom. But he is miraculously saved by Ghost Rider. Blackout thanks Ghosty for saving him so he can finish what he started. The Rider stops him from again attacking the boy, and immediately overpowers and throws Blackout. Ghost Rider reveals he knew to come to the house because he tracked a stench of death and corpses, as Blackout reeked of it. Blackout plays dumb when the Rider asks why so many must die for the canisters. Blackout tries to get Ghost Rider with a surprise attack with the shovel. The Rider deflects. The shovel breaks. The look on Blackout's face is priceless. The Rider goes in for another blow. Surprisingly, Blackout uses a little judo and redirects and uses Ghosty's momentum against himself. He crash lands into a wall. Blackout creeps towards the boy, and Ghost Rider basically threatens if you put one hand on that boy. Blackout interjects with the classic, "You are lucky. We'll meet again."
You were lucky. We'll meet again. We'll meet again, Spider-Man!
Ralphie pleading with the Rider to go after Blackout since he killed Ralphie's parents. Ghost Rider saying Blackout is gone, but he'll get him next time. To be continued. Issue 2 does a great job of ramping up the stakes and drama for this 3-part introduction by introducing one of the most important antagonists in the 90s Ghost Rider series, Blackout. In the first issue, we were introduced to a boss-type villain in Death Watch, one who rarely goes out into the field to get his hands dirty, one who relies on an endless supply of men. Blackout is more of an enforcer-type villain, one that is hands-on and revels in getting his hands dirty. He is like the right-hand man to Death Watch in these first 3 issues, and I really enjoy the way they interact with each other. You get a sense that they've worked together more than once. Blackout also works to up the body count and raising the stakes in the middle chapter, which will lead to an exciting finale in the 3rd part. I can't wait to talk more about this 3-parter as a whole then. See you next time!